There's a lot of different things that you can do for your TPT shop to help make your TPT shop better and to help expand your TPT shop and help hopefully make you a little bit more money. But there's so many different things that it's like, what should you actually do? So in this video, we're gonna talk about the very best things that I did in my shop to help me create a TPT store that makes me over $100,000 a year nowadays, which is really, really super amazing. At least I think so. Maybe you don't think that's amazing, but I think it's pretty amazing. So we're gonna talk about the top 7 things that I have done that have really helped me to build this business and make it what it is now. Before we get started, I do want to mention that I'm not new to TPT. I have been on TPT for 4.5 years as of the timing of this video. So it's not like, these are not like overnight kind of things, but over the long haul, looking back, there's some things that I'm like, I am so glad that I did that. There's some other things that I'm like, oh, I really wish I hadn't done that. But there's a lot of things that I'm really glad that I did. So we're gonna talk about those. Some of them you probably can guess before I even say them. Some of them might surprise you. And I think that the top, like, most important one, the best one, is really gonna surprise you. So we'll see. We'll see if you're shocked when I say that one, because it's something I don't talk about too often, but it's been very important. So let's get into it. Number 7 of the top things that I have done in my TPT store is to fill my store up quickly. When you have a new store, one of the best things that you can do for your new store is to put products in it, because if you don't have any products, nobody can buy anything. And on TPT, there's a multiplier effect where once you start posting products and you post more and more products on your TPT shop, your store is more likely to get seen. Because if you think, if I have one product, someone has to be looking for that one specific thing to find it. But if I have 10 products, they can find it, they have more like 10 chances to find my product. If I have 100 products, they have 100 chances to find my product. And so filling your store up quickly is one of the best things you can do. The caveat to this is that products do have to be good. So don't go so quickly that you compromise on quality. You do want quality, but having the gumption and the, you know, like, go for it-ness to fill your store up quickly is gonna be one of the very best things that you can do for your store. I recommend people have between 25 and 50 products before they really start, like, doing lots of other things. That's kind of when I feel like you've got like an okay amount of products. A lot of people say when they get around 50 and then when they get around 100, they see like huge upticks in sales. It's not like a magic number. It's not like, oh, you have 50, now we shall give you sales. No, it's just like once you have that many, you just have so many more chances to get found from so many different concepts and from different people, and you're just more likely to get sales. And when you have more products, people can purchase more products at a time. I'm also gonna caveat this by saying that I do think, surmise, this is totally Becca's opinion, could be completely wrong, that in smaller niches, it is more important to have more products. Because if you teach kindergarten and there's 6 kindergarten teachers at every school, that's a lot of kindergarten teachers. That's a lot of people who could find your store. And so if you have one product and it can sell 50 bajillion times because there's so many kindergarten teachers, then you have a better, you know, chance of that. As an elementary music teacher, there is one of us per school, and there's a lot of schools that don't have elementary music teachers. So my niche is a lot more narrow, which means I need a lot more repeat customers in order to create sales, because a smaller niche means there's less people to buy, which means I have to have more products for them. Now, totally my opinion. I could be totally wrong. You might be like, Becca, that is a load of baloney. That's fine. But that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I have like 800 products like a crazy person. Again, it's been 4.5 years. That is something that I think about, because, you know, if I don't have new products to send to my people, then if they already bought the products, they can't buy them again. Anyway, let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is one that might shock you also, but that is using video. I made this intentionally broad because video is something I use a lot. Clearly, here I am on YouTube. I also have a YouTube channel for Becca's Music Room, which is the YouTube channel that goes along with my store. I also use video in Instagram, and I use Reels, and I do things like that. And I use video in my video previews in my products. And using video in all of these different components really helps sell your products, because one, on product videos, you can see products so much better. A lot of my products are things like games and activities and things like that, where you can just understand them a lot better if you can see me doing them, and it makes more sense that way than if you have static pictures. It really makes your resources come to life and makes them much more important. I really need to make some videos for some of my products, so I'm like kind of preaching to the choir at the second, because I'm like, oh, I guess I really do need to go make those videos. But having the video previews makes a huge difference. I also use video on Reels and on Pinterest, and having videos available that I've already done, because I do all my like product photography and videos at the same time. Having all those videos makes it so that I am easily able to create tons of content on Instagram and tons of content on Pinterest, and have these like dynamic, you know, videos that do really well. I also do video here on YouTube, and I really think if you're trying to build an audience, having like showing up on video is a huge leg up to not showing up on video, because when you show up on video, people can see your mannerisms and they can see how you act, they can see how you move. I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about how, I think it was a dating coach. It was like an end of season, like the best things we talked about this season or something. I wasn't looking for a dating coach because I'm married, have been for 7 years. But he was talking about how people are sometimes more attractive in person than they are in their pictures, as long as, you know, it's actually their picture and not someone stolen. Because when you see someone in person, you have a you can like feel more of a connection with them. You can see how they move, you can hear how they talk, you can do all those things. And so having video really helps you to connect with your audience in a way that other things just don't. Like that's the real, and I love blogging. I will die on the hill of blogging is the best thing in the world, but having video is really helpful for creating audience members, because it's much more personal. Even though you are obviously not right here in front of me where I can, you know, see you can see me, and you can see how I talk, and you can hear how I talk really fast. My husband, I was filming my session for the Teacher Seller Summit. My husband was in the other room. He was like, do you know that you talk really fast? I was like, yes, I do. Because I have a lot to say. So all of that to be said, using video is so helpful in both promoting your products and creating an audience, and just like having that deeper connection. Plus it's fun. I don't love the editing part, but I do love the filming part. So that's number 6. All right, number 5, best things I've done is trying new things. This is gonna sound so weird, because you know, everyone on the internet is like, you have to have a niche. And I do believe that. However, sometimes people get so stuck in like what their niche is that they then don't like branch out and try something new. And let me tell you, when I try something new, it's usually something that changes my life. For example, when COVID happened and nobody was buying my matching games, because shockingly, no one was playing, you know, Shamrock matching games on Zoom with their children, I had to pivot, and I had to try some new things, and I had to try digital stuff, and it did really well. And it was mostly born out of like the stress of not having money coming in, but you know, neither here nor there, it did really well, and that really made a huge difference. Last year, I started making Right the Room activities, and they started doing really well for me. I wasn't sure how they were gonna go, but they did pretty well. That doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna do well for you, but for me, they have been really successful, and I have found them really useful, really helpful. When I try something new, it's typically when I see the best results, because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always get. You try something new, that's when you might actually see growth and progress. Or it could crash and burn, but you won't know until you try. So just, you know, go for it, try something and see how it goes. Number 4 is one I'm sure you knew was gonna be on this list, and that is blogging. Blogging is one of the things I am so so grateful to 2017 Becca. I'll see if I can find a picture of 2017 Becca for starting my blog, because I had zero intention of turning into a business. I had zero intention of like doing all of these things that have happened with TPT and with YouTube and with like all of this was not on my radar. My radar was, I need to help teachers because there's just not enough information for, you know, broke first year teachers like me. And so I started my blog, and it was the best thing that I have ever done in my life because it was the impetus to all of this. And bonus is that I still get, so I did my blog for like a year and then I added TPT in year 2. I still get sales from blog posts that I wrote in 2018, not 2017 because I didn't have the TPT shop yet, but in 2018 I still get traffic from my 2017 blogs. Like, those are things that are, it gets better with age. They don't get worse. And so having those blog posts over the years and years and years that I wrote mostly on faith, because when you start, you're not making any money. And I didn't know if I was gonna make any money, but I was just writing them to be helpful, writing them to try. And you know, here we are 5 years later, and I have this big, huge business, and it's because I did that. And I still see harvest from those seeds that I have sown years ago. It's like you're planting the seeds, planting the seeds, planting the seeds, and you don't see it for a while. But once you see it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I planted that. But if I'd never done it, I wouldn't have all those things to look back on. Blogging is my favorite thing. It is so good for traffic. It's good for conversions. It's good for audience building. It's good for all of the things. I will never stop talking about blogging. So highly, highly, highly recommend. I do have a whole like playlist about blogging videos, so you can go check that out. I also have a blogging course if you want like really, really in-depth help with your blog. But blog, yeah, do it. And that takes us to number 3. And number 3 is email. Email is something that I started, honestly, because when I was starting my blog, you know, I was reading all these blog posts about what are the things that you should do if you're starting a blog, and everyone was like, I wish I started my email list sooner. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll start my email list. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything, but I started it pretty much immediately after I started my blog because everyone said like, oh, I wish I'd started it sooner. So I was like, well, I guess I'll start it as soon as I can. And it was the best thing that I have ever done, because for years and years, I was able to collect those email addresses and they were able to come in. I didn't get like tons and tons and tons of emails in my first few months, but it was still more than I would have had if I hadn't started it. And now my email list has like 11,000 people on it. And I'm like, if I hadn't started that a really long time ago, it wouldn't be around. Now, are there people that have way more than 11,000? Yes. But I'm really happy with my 11,000. So, and I worked really hard for my 11,000. And so I am really glad that that is something that I did and that I started really early. If you are newer to TPT, highly recommend going ahead and starting your email list. Even if you're not gonna use it yet, even if you're not gonna send anyone anything, even if you're like, I don't really know what this is, just go ahead and do it, because that's always the thing that people say, I wish I'd done that sooner. So be smart and do it as soon as you can. Now, I really debated about the order of like importance with blogging, email, and this next one. And I put in this order because I figured, okay, email does convert better than blogging, even though I needed the blog to get people on my email. So that's why I put it as more important. And this next one is product lines. I decided to put product lines as more important than blogging and email, because if I don't have product lines, then I don't really have much to sell, and therefore, you know, I could have continued writing blog posts for free for years and not made any money. But having product lines is almost the most important thing that I have ever done. A product line is when you have sets of products that go together. So either a couple of different types of products surrounding a concept, or one type of product with lots of concepts on it. Product lines are amazing because one, they're easier to make because once you've made one, it's really easy to continue. My mom has a sign in her office that says, why make one when you can make 10? She's very much who I got all of this from. And so it makes it easier for you because you're already like thinking about this, or you already have the template, or you're already, you know, like in that mode of thinking. So you are like already kind of in that vein, in that world. So it's easier to make new ones. And when people like one of your products in your product line, they can buy more. So it helps increase your cart size. It helps people purchase more bundles. And if they like your stuff, then they will keep coming back for more, and they will like that you have similar things because, you know, it's like, oh, I liked this, so I'm glad she has XYZ. It's kind of like, you know, when you like something and then you buy it in all the colors. I'm like that with shoes. If I like this pair of shoes, I'm gonna buy it in all the different colors because I really like it. And I like that I keep coming back and it's the same thing, you know, it's the same quality. If I bought a pair of shoes and then I went back to buy the same ones in different color, but they didn't feel the same or they weren't as good, I wouldn't be interested in them. But since they all are consistent, I am happy to have, you know, 8 of the same shoe in different colors, even if my choir director makes fun of me for having shoes that match every outfit, because then I just have all the options. And so it's the same thing with your products. If someone's coming to your store and they're buying something for morning work, and you have, you know, morning work for English, and then you also have morning work for math, and then they're like, great, I love the English ones, let me get the math ones, or, you know, whatever it is that you are selling in your store. If you have those things and people like them, again, there's that quality aspect of it, people like them, then they'll want to come back for more. And number one, I'm curious to know, so let me know in the comments if this surprises you as my number one. But number one, the very best thing that I am so glad that I have done for years in my TPT shop is not looking at anybody else. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the one I'm the most glad that I have done over the past 5 years. 4 years, whatever. In the internet, it can be really easy to look at what everyone else is doing and get very distracted. And sometimes it's helpful if you're like, huh, what kind of thumbnails do I like? Go look at people's thumbnails and see what you like, but don't copy them. Don't copy them. But see, you know, oh, I kind of like these colors better than these colors, or I like it when someone has, you know, this bold heading or whatever. So like there's a use for it. But so many people get so stuck on either consuming so much content that they don't create anything themselves. That's a big one that I see. If you spend all your time watching TV, spend all your time, you know, using other people's stuff, you're never creating anything. The reason I have so many products is because I make everything that I do in my classroom. And you don't have to do that, but I do. I make everything. And that's why I have so many products, because I make all of the things. Or if you're distracted by looking at other people's stores and thinking they're better than you, and it causes imposter syndrome and it causes all these different things. And one big one for me is I am so scared to unintentionally copy people. So as you're consuming things, you automatically start taking them in, right? And so sometimes you don't realize that you're copying something, and you totally are. And it's not intentional, but that's something I think about a lot, and that's a big reason why I really don't spend a lot of time looking at other people's things. The other is because, frankly, I'm like, I have so much to do. I don't have time to go look at other people's stuff. I don't have time to go watch other people's Instagram because I have to post on my Instagram. I don't have time to go watch other people's YouTube because I'm busy editing videos all day long for the rest of my life. I'm never gonna be done editing videos. But like, if you can stop looking at other people's things, it's going to help you feel a lot better about your stuff, 1. 2, it's gonna make you have more original ideas. 3, it means that you're not gonna unintentionally copy somebody. And 4, it means you'll actually have time to get stuff done. Stop looking at all of the other things. Stop stressing about why your store's not doing this, why your store's not doing that, and just go get to work. Go get to work. I have people who will message me and be like, why are my views down? I'm like, you shouldn't be looking at your views. You should be making things. And yes, there's a time to look at your views. I look at my data once a month. I sit down and I look at the stuff and I think about it. and then I move on and I go make stuff. Like, you don't need to sit there forever stressing about it. And if your views are not good or your sales are not coming in, your best defense against that is go make stuff. Don't get distracted. I guess it should have been don't get distracted. Don't look at what everyone else is doing. Don't stress about what is or is not happening. Go do some work and then you'll see success. But you gotta do the work to see success. It's this whole paradigm. It's like, oh, well, I'm not seeing success, so I don't want to do the work. But if you don't do the work, then you don't ever see success. So you got to do the work if you would ever like to be successful. Maybe that should have been number one. Anyway, those are some of the things that I'm the most glad that I have done in my TPT store. I'm curious to know what you would add to this list for your specific TPT store. And that's all I've got for you today. So I'll see you next time. Bye.